Hi, welcome back to the Trust Your Worth podcast, the podcast that helps you tap in to the power of knowing your worth. My name is Brittany, and thank you so much for joining me today here on the pod. Okay, last week I had an amazing guest, Dr. Macy Halliday, and we talked about the effects of social media on children and teenagers based on the Netflix. Well, not based on, but like the whole episode was inspired by the Netflix show Adolescence. So if you haven't seen the show or listened to that episode, please go check it out. It's season 2, episode 20. It was so good. Macy, thank you so much again. It was incredible. Okay, today, I've been thinking a lot about this because I don't know why, but it seems to me that it's harder to find individuals who have this quality. And also within ourselves, it is hard to have this quality. And I'm talking about integrity. Like, can you think of someone you know who has integrity? Who has a code of values that they adhere to and they live it? But most of all, I'm thinking of it in terms of being able to put your money where your mouth is, essentially. Like, there's less and less people I tend to meet who don't seem trustworthy and who don't seem to have integrity. And it's not that they're a bad person. It's just that their actions aren't matching what they're saying. So let's get more into that in today's episode on integrity. Okay, so of course, we're just going to start with the definition. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, there's 3 subcategories within the definition. So number 1, firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values. And the synonym they give for that is incorruptibility. Number 2, an unimpaired condition, or synonym is soundness. So I think of the integrity of a structure, meaning like it is reliable, it will not break, it's gonna work 100% of the time when I think of an unimpaired condition. And then third one is the quality or state of being complete or undivided. This one I love because that's what we're fighting for here, isn't it? We're trying to be complete, whole individuals. And where I do believe nobody is perfect and nobody will achieve completeness within their lifetime, but we can get close. I feel like the struggle of life is that we are striving for integrity. We're striving to have that sense of completeness and wholeness. So I found this other definition that I really enjoyed. I'm going to post these links. Please, if anything, like watch all of the links I'm going to post to this episode because they're all just amazing and important, especially if you want to be someone who has integrity, or if it's something, a quality you really want to have, you want to improve having integrity. So let's get back to it. So this is by my guy, Mike. He says, living with integrity means your outer self is in alignment with your inner self. It requires confronting the lies we tell ourselves and facing them with bold, honest courage. I love that. That if we could define someone who has integrity is that what you see is what you get, that they embody their values and their outer self really shows their inner self. I think people who struggle to lie and they're bad at like games of Mafia, like myself, or just can't lie because it's not true to themselves. I think someone who has that quality also has integrity because they can't hide. They can't because they're living in their completeness so much that they just can't lie about things. And even to themselves, like they know their faults and they know their strengths. They don't focus on their faults. That's something we can struggle with, that sometimes we're self-assessing and we only focus on the faults, then you're not getting the complete picture. Like you also need to focus on the things you do great as well at the same time. But we're going to get into that later. So I just want to give 2 examples when it comes to someone who has integrity, because you can have integrity within relationships that you have with people, but also not have integrity with yourself, and vice versa. Like you can be there, show up for yourself, but then fail other people. So we're trying to close this gap that happens when our words do not meet our actions. So I watched this video again. Please go watch it. I'm going to link it, about this man. And he was talking about, he was a therapist and he was talking about why couples break up, especially marriages fall apart. And he talked about how men especially tend to just struggle with integrity, that I don't know what's causing it. He didn't really get into that, but it just seemed to be more of a pattern he noticed within men. Basically, women would lose trust in their partners and they couldn't pinpoint an exact example. They couldn't tell you why they didn't trust their partner specifically, but it was more of the slow burn of times where they needed their partner to show up in small ways and they did not. So he gave the example of the woman asking her partner, "Hey, can you please go pick up milk on the way home from work today?" And the guy forgot to get the milk on the way home, so they didn't have any milk. And as an isolated incident, like from time to time, that's okay. Like things happen. But when it's a repeated pattern, when they've asked you, several times, and it gets into that pattern where the guy's feeling nagged, but they also at the same time didn't show up for their partner in the little things. And then if you add it up over time of little instances where your partner's not showing up for you, that's a big deal. Of course. It's so he gave an example with marbles, but I sort of changed it. I see it as like this person is a paper cup and you are investing yourself into this person. So you're pouring your water, your limited resources water into this cup, hoping they'll hold it and keep it safe. But when that person doesn't show up for you, so like they didn't get the milk, poked a hole in that cup, now that cup is leaking. They didn't take out the trash when you asked them to, poke another hole. They were supposed to pick up the kids, they didn't do it, poke another hole. They were supposed to come to your parent-teacher meeting, didn't show up, poke another hole. So over time, you can see how if you keep poking a million holes into this paper cup, of course, all of that trust that you've instilled into this person is going to leak out. That cup is now unreliable. I can't use it anymore because there's a million holes in it. So you can't trust them anymore. You can't keep filling this cup. So eventually you're just going to give up. You're like, I can't fill that cup anymore. So I'm going to go find a new one. He also talked about how, yes, you can ruin trust in an instant. And that's when like the cup is completely tipped over. That would be like akin to like they've cheated on you, like huge things that break your trust. They lied to you about who they were, whatever, like huge things. Those can happen too. But most times people end up separating because slowly over time, hole after hole, the trust just leaks out. Where now you cannot, that person has no more integrity. You can't trust anything they say they're going to do because they said they're going to do it, but then they never do it. That's a huge deal. Like you want to be able to rely on the people you trust and love and who hopefully love you, because like that's fair. I feel like you we all deserve that, people we can rely on. And while nobody's perfect, and it doesn't mean you can't patch the holes of trust, you can. So if that sounds like you, if people have asked you to do things and you just haven't done them, then you need to start closing that integrity gap. You need to start doing what you say you are going to do so that people can start trusting you. And in turn, you know what the cool thing is going to happen? You're going to start trusting yourself, because when you can be reliable and show up to other people, then it sort of starts to happen in your own life, and vice versa. Like, that's what's cool about it, is that when you start keeping your promises to yourself, you can also show up for others. It also means you need to get really good at saying no, because if your word is your bond, you have to be able to say no to things you can't do. If your partner is like, hey, I need you to pick up the milk tonight. I'm so sorry. I don't want to disappoint you, but like, I literally can't tonight. Can I get it tomorrow? Can we make it one more day without getting it? Is that okay? So like, communicating and knowing when you can do things and cannot do things. And that's so important. Let me talk about when we don't have integrity with ourselves. There's a gap between what we say we're going to do and what we actually do within ourselves. Okay, so there's 2 examples I found from the brain coach, who is Nawal Mustafa, MA. She says, quote, therapy won't build your confidence if you keep outsourcing your self-worth to other people's opinions. You can do all the inner work in the world, but if you're still relying on your boss, your ex, or your social media to tell you you're enough, you're still giving your power away. So yes, maybe we've done the work. We're going to therapy, but our actions, like, we're still seeking out that validation from others, then our actions are not matching the work we're doing. Number 2, quote, affirmations don't work if your actions still scream self-abandonment. You can repeat, I'm confident in the mirror 100 times, but if you still say yes to things you hate, ignore your boundaries, and avoid hard conversations, you're reinforcing the opposite. So you can see there's that integrity gap, that if you are just saying, hey, I love myself, you're so great, you're amazing, and then you're doing nothing to reinforce that. Like, literally, when someone's like, hey, I need you to do this, and you have 0 tokens to be able to do it, but you're like, yeah, no problem, I'll be there for you, and then you burn yourself out trying to people please everyone. Like, no. Trust your worth. So again, how do we close this integrity gap? So within ourselves especially, there's a very amazing question, and this is going to be your worth work tonight, okay? You're going to have a little journal sesh, and I want you to ask yourself this question. And this one's going to hurt, probably. Like, when I thought of this answer, it hurts, but it's good hurt. We need the hurt to grow. So the question I need you to journal about is, what truth are you afraid to admit to yourself? Honestly, at this point right now, I don't know. The example she gave is that she knew the entire time she was married that she shouldn't be with that person. And it was a good marriage and they were happy and they were good friends, but she knew something was missing. And she ended up having to admit to the truth to herself that she wanted more than this relationship could give her. And that's terrifying, because it's not like the relationship wasn't necessarily bad for her, but it was keeping her from her truest and honest self, and from her dream life, and from happiness she knew she was missing out on, even though it was a great time with that person. It just wasn't what she wanted in the end. Oh, I can't imagine. Like, that's so hard, having to give up that. So that is the brutal honesty I want you to have within this exercise, is what truth are you afraid to admit to yourself? And then when it comes to integrity with other people, you just need, the simple truth is that if you say you just have to keep your commitments. So for your worth work, if you need to work on having integrity with others, is to keep your word. Your word is your bond. You need to, if you say yes to something, you have to do it no matter what. For this whole week, just try this exercise. And that exercise is if you say yes to doing something, you have to do it. So if somebody asks you, hey, you want to go to this movie? Yes, I do. I would love to see Superman this week. Then you got to go. If somebody asks you, hey, can you give me a ride to the office? Even if it's inconvenient for you and you said yes, then you have to do it. So also this will help you be able to set boundaries and say no to things that you know you cannot commit to. Because if your word is your bond, if you really mean what you say and you have integrity, then you got to do what you say you're going to do. You got to put your money where your mouth is, okay? So let me just reiterate the worth work. So number 1 is that journal prompt. What truth are you afraid to admit to yourself? Number 2 is keeping your commitments. So if you say yes to doing things, then you have to do it no matter what this week. Okay? Okay. I hope this worth work helps you, and I hope that you think about how much integrity you have as a person. How does integrity help us with our worth? Well, I think it's a lot easier to know your worth when you know that you're reliable, when you know that you're trustworthy, when you know that you can show up for people, then you know you have inherent value. Like nothing you say or do is going to change your worth. Like if you fail at this, you're still worthy, okay? Like I know having integrity is hard. Like it is the pursuit of life, one would say, to find completeness, to do what we say we are going to do. But I hope that you know that this will help with your worth when you also don't abandon yourself, that you remember how important you are, and that if you need to say no to something so that you can close that integrity gap with yourself, like make that me time for you, then I hope that you make time to do that. Okay, so I hope you enjoy trying to close your integrity gaps within yourself and with other people and with those relationships that are important to you. And yes, please, I want to hear how your worth journeys are going. So if you want to find me, you can find me at Trust Your Worth Podcast on Instagram. And guys, I'm on TikTok now. What? That's crazy. So if you want to follow the podcast on TikTok, same handle at Trust Your Worth Podcast. Also, the videos are going up on YouTube. So I have 5 up right now. It has been a disaster trying to get season 1 onto YouTube because my hard drive crashed and died, and I tried to save as much as I could. So some of the videos on YouTube will not have actual video, and what's there I basically had to salvage. So but episodes 1 through 5, the one with Zion, the first one with Zion is up on YouTube now. So if you want to check that out, Trust Your Worth Podcast on YouTube. Yeah. And as always, trustyourworth.com. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here today. If no one has told you today, you are the salt of the earth. You are uniquely you, perfectly you. And I'm just so grateful that we have you in this world. So thanks for listening. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye. Love ya.